We are still in meetup mode because while we're all holding coffee mugs, it's scotch.
You know, win at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And if you come into trading with that mindset,
you're gonna lose.
It's gonna be just the opposite.
Yeah.
You know, you're gonna lose everything.
You know, the same piece of paper with the same rules, the same trading strategy, and then the two people trade it completely differently.
Well, you know, do you bag hold it, or are you able to cut that position, deal with loss now so that you can be more profitable later?
When I first came out of school, I was really egoistic. There's only one right way of trading, but it's not the case.
First of all, did you see it becoming what you have in Bear Bull Traders today at all?
No, not at all. I had no idea that we became like this.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers. Cheers.
We've had a great 3 days here in Vancouver at our sort of first meetup here in the offices of Peak Capital and Bear Bull Trading. We're really happy to have you guys with us out there, and I wanted to share some of our thoughts from the weekend. We had a great day of trading on Friday, and a lot of fun that we'll talk about, and maybe a little bit about how we got here. What in Bear Bulls led to the growth that we've experienced, and how it's affected all of us. I'll get started by saying this is my first, well, Friday we were talking about was my first time ever trading in a room with a group of traders, and man, was it ever fun, eh?
Yeah, same here. Same here. Never once have I traded in a room with other people.
I know, and it's so different. Like you think, you know, we're on the microphone, we're in the chat room with, you know, all of our members out there, but it's different when you're live in a room. It had such a different dynamic and a great feel. I was impressed at how you were able to keep it all together and make some fantastic trades, because I was just so excited to be here, I like pretty much forgot to trade.
Yeah, no, seriously. Well, I mean, I think most of us were, you know, FOMOing, missing out on a big short on DocU at the Open. So once we recovered from that, I think we started getting some good trades in.
Yeah, there was one person that didn't. Right there. He was the one yelling out in the room that gave us
I only
the
caught
FOMO.
the first quarter of the move, though, so.
Yeah. All we hear is, and I'm done.
I got you on breakfast. That's what I was for.
Yes, you did.
You got us breakfast, so indeed.
Introduced, what was that, the brand? Tim Hortons.
Yeah. You got to be able to remember Tim Hortons being here. That is a requirement.
So that trading all together in one room was a good indication that maybe in the next meetup we can actually have a room that all traders come and we all trade in the same room together. Like, you know, maybe Florida, we have a lot of traders in the East. That would be nice to meet up and then in the morning all sit down together. Yeah. That would be a very good idea. It would be fun.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully we can pull that together. That would be awesome.
Just make sure it's on the East Coast, because it was no fun coming in at 4:30 in the morning after staying out till midnight.
Yeah, the market opens at 6:30 in the Pacific time, and you have to wake up like 4:35 to come, especially for the people who want to run the pre-market show. It's really, really hard. Yeah.
So funny thing is, the office door is actually linked to my cell phone, so I was sleeping at 5 a.m. My phone's ringing, and I figured out, who is this? Swiss Norm. All right, so I'll buzz you in, because I usually start at 6 a.m., but it was there.
But the meetup was great. I mean, this was probably one of the biggest meetups that we had. Usually we had the biggest ones in New York City. Your birthday was, the 4th of July was epic, like I think 160, 70 people won. Yeah. This one was actually pretty big too. Yeah. And I was really impressed with people flying from Colorado, Philadelphia, all part of the country, and they come for the meetup. People drove from Seattle, and I was very, very impressed that the community has grown. I remember the last meetup that we had was in 2018 or 19 in Vancouver, and it was only barely 20 people. Were there, and now imagine, assuming with the pandemic that so many people come. It was just amazing, yeah.
Well, I think it's amazing too, just being able to like meet all of you, right? Also face to face, and meet some of the community face to face. It's unbelievable how much time you spent, you know, just on Zoom calls or on video chats or whatever, seeing somebody through a webcam, to finally just being able to actually meet everybody in person and, you know, share a beer.
People you've worked with for 3 years.
Yeah, because like me, I was like, when I first met you guys, I was like starstruck. It's like meeting like celebrities. You know, because you see them, it's like you see them on TV, and it's like you guys are movie stars.
I felt when I met Ed. So I'm kind of confused.
I mean, I think in person we can say none of us feel that way.
Absolutely
And it's
not.
amazing to us, like when you come to a meetup, because we were talking about this earlier, a few of us, where we said, you know, everyone will come up and say, "Oh my God, Peter, it's so good to meet you," or "Mike, hey, it's good to meet you." And every time we have to say, "Hi, you know, good to meet you too. What's your name?" And then they would give us like their username, and you're like, "Oh my God, yeah," you know, because we talk through chat all the time, and it's weird to have everybody know who you are, and then you know we've got to figure out who everyone is. So speaking of introducing, I should have done that up front. So just in case you don't know any of the names, because we've got a good portion of our team, but not everybody. I'm Peter. To my right, we got Mike, Andrew, we got Norm, Thor, Ed, Simon, and last but certainly not least, Artie. So I should also clarify that we are still in meetup mode because while we're all holding coffee mugs, it's scotch. So don't think Norm and Artie are drinking alone. We're all here with them, all right? So,
Cheers.
I didn't think that.
No, we just didn't have enough whiskey glass in the office. Actually, we have none.
To have a respectable office by putting in
Yeah.
coffee mugs.
We were gonna get whiskey glasses, but T and I kept going down, so we couldn't get them yet.
Waiting on that bounce for some rocks.
I need a loan from Treasury Department very soon.
It will bounce.
Yeah, it will bounce. You know, I said at the outset that it's been quite a journey. We look at the growth that Bear Bull Traders has undergone over the last several years. I've been around probably one of the longest, having joined Andrew back in 2017. But you've all been here like through a ton of change. I mean, I know, Mike. We were just talking last night actually when you came on board. You know, like you were just getting introduced to the team and trying to figure out, you know, where you were going to fit in, and
Yeah, and taking over the psychology section as it was something that we've all, right, determined as one of the important things in trading that you got to be able to master. But
Not the most.
right, but there was no real material out there. So really, over the last 2 years, I mean, it's just amazing if you look at some of the psychology stuff we have now with Creta and Dr. Reed. It's just phenomenal. So I was talking with my wife about where it was when I got here. And we've really only had about 32 videos. And I mean, you look at it now and we have hours upon hours of videos. And it's very difficult for new traders that join us to kind of figure out, where do I start? Where do I go? And it's something that this meetup has provided Andrew, Norm, and I. We kind of sat down and for all of our members, we've structured it in a way that I think we're going to be able to implement it so that it's easier for you to find the specific material that you want, whether it's following Thor's VPA or you want to look at a journaling plan that Peter talks about. It'll be easier to find stuff. And if you're a new trader, you can start from the beginning.
Yeah, because you got all this, now we have all this content. Now you got to start making it easier to find the content you want.
Yeah. Because when you create it, right, or when you're the one that's organizing it and somebody asks you where it is and you click on the website and you're like, oh, I thought it was here and I can't even find it, you know new members can't find it. So something had to be done.
I mean, starting 2020, early 2020, when you joined us, I mean, one of the really big movements that we had in our education was, first of all, the psychology, that there was that element that was really lacking. And you brought this psychology course and psychology material. That's why the Investopedia recognized us as best day trading course of 2021, because we were essentially the only community that had so much focus on psychology, these modules, materials, and psychologies. But yeah, you're right. Our education center has expanded a lot. So one of the things that we're going to do in the new year is we restructure education center in a way that the newer people will come and join the community and haven't seen those old webinars, but they still have access to those ones if they're structured better. And because we're producing contents almost every week, it's very important to restructure the education center. So next year, I think the community is going to see a more updated education center, easier to find the materials. Like, for example, the VPA webinars that Thor has done is 3-part series. It's now in the webinar section, but it has to be a standalone course with regular updates that Thor is going to do. So I'm very excited for that. And I think it's going to be way better education center next year.
So we didn't just drink and party this weekend. We actually got some work done.
We did squeeze a little bit of work in there, but definitely there is.
Mostly drink and party.
Well, that introduction to psychology, I think, is something we can't overstate for Bear Bull, because I think all of us as traders, as we've matured, it's one of these things that we tell people repeatedly. Like, how many members have we talked to where everybody starts with the technical, right? How do I read the charts? What should I look at? What stock should I trade? All of that is important. But at the end of the day, if you don't have your own mindset and your psychology managed, you're going to be unable to implement that consistently. And it's funny, like, how many people, like, I hear you, but they always want to focus on sort of the technical aspects. And I think as you mature as a trader, you realize more and more you've got to focus on the psychology and that's what's going to help you trade for a living or trade over the long term. So yeah, that focus that you brought, Mike, really helped improve things a lot.
You can get into any trade. Getting into a trade is actually very, very easy. All you have to do is hit a button, right? That's super easy. What do you do after you get in with the trade? That's where that starts. Can you hold it? Do you have to sell it? Do you need to sell it to protect yourself from loss? Because that's a psychological issue as well. Do you bag hold it, or are you able to cut that position, deal with loss now so that you can be more profitable later? There's a lot to focus on in there, and I think when a lot of people find that tipping point between being successful at trading or not, it's actually not how well you can read charts, it's how well can you tolerate the risk, and are you able to persevere when you lose, which you will a lot, right? So can you accept that, deal with it? Our boss shows us this all the time, where he accepts a loss, the next day he comes back and he crushes, right? And if he didn't have the resiliency to deal with that, he would not be successful. So, and that is what makes him successful, is that resiliency. So psychology, if anything, like I said before, the most important.
Yeah, I go with the 90-10 rule. Trading is 90% psychological. Mm-hmm. It's because it's difficult, because it goes almost 100% against what we were taught coming up. We're taught winning is everything. Win at all costs. Mm-hmm. Yes. And if you come into trading with that mindset,
you lose.
It's going to be just the opposite.
Yeah.
You're going to lose everything. So you're definitely right.
To be a good trader.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So you have to learn to be a good loser.
Yeah. I was talking to someone just on Friday, I think, in the chat room, where we were saying, look, the more you focus on winning exclusively, the less likely it is to happen. Yeah. It's one of those just unfortunate things, right? So you, like you say, you need to focus on the psychology, settle yourself down, calm into it, and then, you know what? Then it tends to flow.
Yeah.
And I mean, Thor, I think your trading is a great example of that, where you came in and like all of us, you brought your own set of skills, but you developed them along the way and continue to share that with all of our membership. Like, you're the VPA guy, right? But the volume price analysis work that you do now was an evolutionary aspect
not almost
of your
3 years into trading did I even start peeking into it.
Right.
So.
Right.
No, I got very lucky. So BBT is the only trading house that I've actually ever belonged to. So my wife actually bought me Andrew's book because I had started learning about trading, and the title was right. She found it well and she did that, and then I read that. So I joined Bear Bull Traders from there. So this has been my home since the very beginning of my trading career, going from there to moderating to being with the education system and everything, and it's been just amazing. But it has been a non-stop evolution. And one thing I say to a lot of people, it's like, the better the traders are, try and find me another trader that trades the exact same way. Right. And you almost won't. I don't know any, but even in this room here, each individual member of this room, I can tell you right now, has a significantly different trading style. So, and that's that part, you have to take the bits and pieces from everybody, absorb and become your own trader. That's, and that really works out. And that's what I've always done. I'm always trying to just learn, evolve, move forward. And then once I do, and I feel confident in that, bring it back to the community and present.
That's amazing. That's how people start from a base, like for example, my book, but they evolve from completely different trader. I learned a lot from Ed back in 2014. And he's the master of opening range breakouts, 5-minute opening range, and the all-day holds. And I learned a lot from him, but 5, 6, 7 years later, I'm a completely different trader. Yeah. But the basics was the same. This is just the VWAP, these are the chart patterns. Now, that's the beauty of a community, that all starts from the same thing, but everyone shapes their trading style to their own personality and account size and risk tolerance and everything else.
Well, that's a great thing that you're right. We can all evolve in our own paths and find out how it works. Simon, you're a good example of that, I think, right? Because, I mean, you teamed up with Eamon, who couldn't be here with us today, and you've got a trading style that that's your own, right? But it's not something you developed uniquely. You developed with information from those around you.
Well, I think that's where it comes down to with trading, right? Everyone's tackling it in their own scope of problem solving, right? There's different tools, different personality sets as to, how you want to go about making money at the end of the day, right? And I think you made a great comment last night in the sense that there's just so many different ways you can go about making money, right? And it's keeping your ego in check that there's not one right way, right? There's a million different right ways. And I think that the evolution as you kind of mature as a trader yourself, both on the psychological perspective, on the technical perspective, pick up different styles and things that suit your personality a little bit better along the way. But being supported by a community as kick-ass as BBT is awesome, right? Because BBT has also evolved, circling back to our prior conversation so much. Like, I'm probably one of the newer members to the BBT team, with Ed as well being here less than half a year coming from the Peak Capital side of things, and it's been crazy to even see things like the stock trading simulator go live, right? Like these ancillary tools that really help foster growth and kind of help you develop through those stages. But it's all about kind of finding your own niche and what you really want to focus on. And Eamon and I were lucky enough to be able to collaborate and improve the data sets that you have and the access to information, and then being able to scale, grow, and develop from that, alter it to maybe more momentum plays or whatever the case may be. It's really eye-opening seeing that you could give somebody the same piece of paper with the same rules, the same trading strategy, and then the two people trade it completely differently on completely different tickers and completely different biases. So it's really cool from that perspective.
Yeah. The curriculum you guys have been developing around the simulator too, so that people can now practice kind of the simulating, like, hey, check out this day, this time, try this is how you can learn to do this, kind of setup. If you're looking at this setup, you can practice this starting at this time. It's been really cool seeing how that has really taken off and started to grow. I know it's a lot of work for you guys.
Well, and it's really cool, right? Because it's the same thing. You start to see how some of the community approaches it differently, right? One of the features that we were actually going over, so stay tuned in the coming months. Hopefully that'll be coming out, is the Twitter integration, for the stock trading simulator, being able to really promote and share about how you go through the trading homework that we email out, or some of the trade ideas, right? Like, a lot of the work goes into market replay, and you have to put in work kind of after market hours to really develop, especially in the first couple of years of trading. And it's cool seeing how different traders will take the bias or the idea that Eamon and I send out and how they approach it so differently, right? You see different entry styles, profit taking, everything in between, but the goal is the same, right? It's mastering the process so that you get the outcome that you desire, but it's not starting from the outcome and then working backwards, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So this is a vision that you had, Andrew, of putting in place that stock trading simulator. I know Simon, Artie, you guys have been working on it. Where do you guys think it's going?
I think it's going really well. Obviously, it's still in the earliest stage, but we really wanted a tool that people go practice at their own time, because not everyone can actually trade live during the market open. But having a replay is not enough. Okay, you have a tool. How can I use it? What ticker from 7,000 public company? What should I trade? And that's why Eamon and Simon has created this curriculum that if you go to the stocktradingsimulator.com, there's an email pop-up, enter your emails, and then you get weekly webinars and trade ideas, essentially, in a way that, okay, I can go practice this, I can go practice that, and then they post these recaps in there. I think this tool needs to be free, because it's very important to traders to play around and see if they want to be a trader or not. Right. I don't think this is a tool that really needs to be charged, or people need to subscribe than that. But after this, I think we can build tools that help traders in getting more consistency, like developing their trade book and tag them based on the trade book, and then analytics around it. Okay, so these are my opening range, these are my practice, these are my win-loss, win-to ratios, and just keep adding more material to get a better training for traders through this free tool that we developed.
Well, that's great. I mean, it's great that we're doing that, and it's great that it's a free introduction, like you said, an entry point, right, to figure out if you want to trade.
Exactly, yeah.
It gives you a different perspective too on the market, right? Like it's so eye-opening. I don't know if anybody else has experienced it, but I'm like, I sit down in the open, trade the hour, and I'm like, oh my God, the hour's gone, right? It felt like 5 minutes went by. Sit there in the simulator for an hour, and it's like, oh man, wow, it really feels like an hour. Like you can tell that, there's an emotional aspect. There's, excitement going into trading the live market. So when you're approaching it after the hours, in a tool like a trading simulator, it's really, really eye-opening for how much goes on kind of within you and your own psychology and how you kind of can possibly make those execution errors. And that's what I think has been a big takeaway for me is, we have so many traders that have been emailing Eamon and I directly and reaching out and everything, and just it kind of takes you trading in a non-live environment to recognize some of those psychological problems, because it goes back to the discussion. And like what Ed said, it's 90%, a mental game. It's a psychology game above all else, right? So hopefully this trading simulator tool can be a great way to kind of get your foot in the door and get that exposure, but then, it's part of that mastery process and really learning it better and understanding, your own faults and your own execution, because at the end of the day, you need to be able to control your own weaknesses, right?
Well, and you can get into it and you can try it, and you don't got to go out and get a $200 data feed with a brokerage account and all of this stuff so that you can get access or pay some crazy subscription. You can at least get into the market, get a little experience, and figure some things out with and be able to do that without making some massive commitment first.
We always believe that people should try it first cheap before investing into a very expensive course. That's why we have this free trial or very cheap trial that, come and see for 1 week or 2 weeks before really make a commitment for a community. And this tool is a really good thing without all of those brokers and stuff. Just see if you like it or not, because a lot of people might not like that. So, okay, I just can't make sense of these prices going up and down, and that's fine. You can just move on, put your energy and time on another business, another career on the side. But I'm very excited for this tool in 2022 to expand and gets better and better, and I hope that we can serve the community at large, all the traders, to benefit from that.
So we've talked about the future and some of the new things that we've put in recently. So rewind to when you started Vancouver Traders and when your second trader joined over here for free. First of all, did you see it becoming what you have in Bear Bull Traders today at all?
No, not at all. I had no idea that we became like this. I had no idea. But one thing that I always had in my mind when I started Vancouver Traders was that this is going to be a community. This is not a university or academy or trading school. Yeah. And we try to keep it as a community, because there's a difference. You go to some places, it's like academy, these are the course, certificate, exam, and then you're by yourself. But Bear Bull Traders, the community aspect is more powerful than education. In my opinion.
Well, the market ever changes moving forward, you got to be changing.
Collective knowledge that the community can bring you, it's like Wikipedia. All the normal people are writing that encyclopedia. It's just, when I started with DAS, any question that I had, like how do I change this VWAP or this setting, I had to go to their, live support, email them, maybe someone get back to me. It might take, 1 or 2 days of me and to figure out this hotkey. But now you ask a question that how do I do this buying power hotkey? 30 seconds later, you get a link from someone onto the forum and you get the answer. Yeah. This is a huge, huge help that maybe we underestimate, but it's huge. We exponentially, increase your learning curve and performance.
I mean, and without the community, we wouldn't have figured out who we all are, right? I mean, Eamon, as mentioned, is not
Absolutely.
here. The artificial intelligence man. We know that he's really a robot in disguise. We wouldn't have figured out the prophet of profit, Brian, who's abandoned us in Vancouver. Couldn't be here with us this weekend. He's at a wedding with a friend. Yeah, excuses. He's not here having scotch with us. And of course, we have the low float king, right? I mean, you're never going to live that down, Norm. Poor you. You look like two trades pre-market. Now you're the low flow king forever.
Yeah, after warning everybody.
Exactly. We all know you from like pre-market. You're saying every time, no, this is garbage. Don't trade it.
Fire.
Yeah. So we'll take from going from the spot of what I'm least proud of, my low float king moniker, to you. One more question. What are you most proud of in retrospect of Bear Bull Traders? Rewind to from the beginning till now.
I think I'm very proud of putting this team together. I think with Ed joining us as the recent merge I think we are a really, really solid community in a way that we touch all sorts of spectrum of traders, from scalpers all the way to all the holds or swing traders like the Ed and Brian are doing. Of course, there's more room to add, but I think I'm very, very proud of the leadership team. And of course, the senior traders that we have, the contributors and the people who are experienced, and they are just contributing for free without any compensation or any expectations to the community. And it's just amazing that we brought this group of people. I travel around the world. You guys come to some of the meetups. Every single member that I see in the meetups is the person that I want to have a beer, I want to have a coffee, go out, go party, go spend time. And we attract the same group of people, all having certain values, that the people that we love to hang out with. And I think I'm very proud that we have a core group of people that are attracting to the Bearable traders.
Well, I think we're all happy to be here, aren't we?
Yes,
As Simon
definitely.
said, thanks for kicking ass, right? Let's get
Yeah.
Well, I need more.
Ed, we were talking about you having
I'll join you too, Andrew.
You brought a different sort of perspective in, because you trade a much more. I like how you say I'm a simple guy. I trade simple. I keep arguing your trading's not simple. It's mature and methodical.
Methodical.
Gee whiz. Couldn't even say it. Yeah, thank you. That's something that I think we value, and it's great to see in the room.
Yeah, it's been an amazing journey. It took me 2 years to decide to come join.
I pulled that trigger.
Yeah, but I've been talking to Andrew for a couple of years. But I had no idea. If I had known the team was this amazing, I would have been here a long time ago.
See, you should have brought
But you guys,
up earlier, and we could have changed.
But you guys are amazing. But just to circle back, I don't mean to go backwards, but that the trading, the market replay simulator that you have, the market replay simulator is what got me to where I am. Because I would spend, my wife can tell you, 2-3 hours a night after everybody went to bed, and I'm replaying the day over. I'm practicing my trading, I'm practicing my entries and my exits on there. And there's no substitute for screen time.
Nope.
Yeah.
If you're on a Porsche, you know what I'm talking about. The Porsche, there's no substitute.
Yeah.
So there's no substitute for screen time in trading. You can't fast track that.
Nope.
What platform were you using that time?
The on-demand from TD Ameritrade, which is nothing like what you guys have developed. That was it would cause headaches sometimes. You couldn't use it on Saturday morning.
Yeah.
You had to use it at night when very little people were on it, and it worked perfect. But it's what everybody needs, and that's why that tool is going to be a game changer for a lot of people. Because if they use it the right way, you're going to build a right foundation.
Yeah. There's so much we should do on the simulator.
Yeah.
The level 2 replay is something that I always wanted to have.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to implement because you have to have all those data, and level 2 is changing every second.
Yeah.
There's so many data, and then you have to tag them with the timestamp. And then when you call them to the web base, it's just a little bit of a chaos.
Yeah.
The us didn't do it. We have, I don't think
They've already got the data, and
they already got the data, but they do have the issue with this so much data.
Yeah, it's hard. The
it's
level
very
2
hard.
is hard to
It's
implement.
possible, but it's probably very, very hard to implement. Yeah.
And that's probably why I've learned not to depend so much on it, because it half worked in TD Ameritrade. So I had to depend on just reading the price action. And, like I said, it's that screen time, guys. Don't try to shortchange yourself. It's what it takes.
In addition, right, it builds your beliefs, right? And I've been telling traders that reach out in the community, I'm like, even if I were to give you exactly how I trade and the exact set rules, unless you actually spend the screen time developing your own internal system of beliefs, and you believe that rule or you believe that risk to reward, and you've seen success there, it's not going to mean anything, right? You're going to make exceptions to a rule. You're going to emotionally trade, and you can address so much of that with, like you said, just more screen time to build those beliefs.
Because each trade is different. Like I could trade an opening range breakout on, let's say, DOCU today. I can come back tomorrow and trade the same opening range breakout. It's going to look 100% different. Yeah. It's not going to trade the same. It's not going to feel the same. And if you're trying to take what you did yesterday with this one stock and bring it over and try to do the same thing with this other stock, and you look for the exact same thing, it's not going to happen. And it gets frustrating, especially to new traders who, when we teach them stuff and they're looking at a dead chart and we're saying, okay, when it breaks this level, you buy it. Well, what happens if it runs up and comes back, runs up and comes back? You've got to know how, you got to get that feel, and you got to get that rhythm down. So, yeah.
That movement up and that movement down, that's that psychological thing that we've talked about, because when you look at the dead chart, it's easy to say, enter here at the opening range, the next candle's white, and your mind just strategically ignores the big long wick that was formed at some point in that minute and before it ran up, and you got to be able to withstand that. So that trading sim is so important to go back into.
And it comes right back to what we started talking about, like our trading on Friday. Documentum is something that many of us, regret having missed. It was a big move, but as Norm can attest to, you did take a trade on it, and it was a good trade. But you can sometimes look back in hindsight and say, "Oh crap," because it started around 55 and ended up where, like the low of
155, and it hit well at the very end of the day at 135.
Yeah, 135 I think was the low.
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, so there's a $20 potential move in there, but when I was looking at it at the open, like it's easy to look at the dead chart now and say, it's all red candles. How easy would it have been to get in there and get that But at the time, it had a 30 to 80 cent spread. It was jumping up and down by $1. Like I was looking at it going, this could jump up $3 on me. I don't know.
I missed it. It ran away before I felt comfortable getting in, and by then it was just gone.
So it's tough, right? You look at the chart afterwards, you're like, that would super easy trade. Well, it's not always easy, right? It's not so easy when it's live.
Yeah. So I waited. It's what I tell you. If you missed a big move, wait. The chart's going to tell you when to buy. So I bought. I traded the bounces.
Yep.
And the last bounce was when it went all the way down to 132. I caught it and traded it back up to like 135 at the close. So I didn't get the huge move, but I still made, $1,200–1,300 trading a couple hundred shares, just trading the bounce.
Right.
So, and all of that came back, that knowledge came from watching the market replay and saying, hey, I missed this big move, but what's the secondary move? And you're just sitting there watching it. You're not worrying about trading it. You're not thinking about trying to make money. You're just watching the price action and saying, okay, hey, I see this happen over and over and over again. This is something I need to explore. Right. And you're going to see tremendous growth.
I like the patience in your headspace, how you're able to show the restraint in that, because most people, that's where they're going to really have a lot of trouble, is just chasing trades, right? You're never on the trade. You're always chasing it. You're always listening to who's calling it. You're always running from trade to trade, trying to get in, but you're not really prepared. You're not really looking anything. You're waiting to hear someone call it in the chat room, and all of those things are just going to cause that. But if you can actually learn stuff like Ed's teaching there, which is not only if you miss the move, wait for a better bounce, but there will be other moves. Yeah. There's no reason you have to just, go crazy chasing into this one. Give it some time. It'll find a significant support area, get a little bounce, still make a little money, no big deal. Or scrap the ticker altogether, go off and find one that's in a better spot for you and get to trade. And I personally didn't get docu, so I shorted Apple. And I got a beautiful multi-dollar sell on Apple. It just took, had to wait another 10 minutes before I got into my position. Yeah.
I shorted NVIDIA instead of Docu. As I was sitting right next to him in the room back there, him clapping and saying, all done. I'm like, the first thing I do, I look at the time, I'm like, I haven't even taken a trade. Here we go, FOMO.
That's crazy. All of you guys are done having fun, and I'm over there like, trying to catch this bounce because I'm going to make my money.
And you did eventually.
Yeah, everybody's gone. And when did I finish? At 355.
Yeah.
355, it hit my last target, and I was like, okay, I'm done. Everybody's gone.
Anyone?
Lights are off and everything.
Yeah, it's Vancouver, it's sun setting. Ed's leaving.
That's amazing. Wow. Well, we were talking about everybody's different style, and I mean, Artie, you and Jared actually have been bringing options into the room. We're primarily sort of equity traders, but options, I guess I'm learning too that it plays a big role. There's a lot to be learned from options, whether you trade them or not. Actually, and you use options as well. Option
I use the
indicators.
option scanner, yeah.
Right, to help you understand
Option flow scanner, where the money's coming in.
where the money is. So where do you see some, because you do sessions right now on Tuesdays and Thursdays, where do you see taking that?
I'm really excited. Actually, last night at the meetup, someone came up to me and he's like, "Hey, you're adding so much value, and I'm just getting into options," and that really made my night. It's really exciting. Just what I tell everyone, it's not about. When I first came out of school, I was really egoistic. There's only one right way of trading, but it's not the case. Like there's so many ways you can make money, but it's all about additional tools in your toolbox. It's not about being a equity trader or option traders. How many tools you have in that toolbox? So when there is a new regime in the market, there is a new things happening, new catalysts. How can you get more benefit out of that and take advantage of it? I'm really excited. I think the feedback's been really good. So as long as things are good, we'll keep adding on. We're doing webinars on hedging and stuff like that. It's very, very exciting. Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, for one, I love the sessions, because I learn a lot. Because I don't know a lot about options, right? But it's great. So
Yeah.
so thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Andrew, we'll give you the last word. What's
Well, we are almost at the end of 2021. We survived this year too. Well, I think it was a great meetup to wrap up the 2021. It was an amazing year for Bear Bull traders with the tools that we built, with the growth of the community, with the new addition team members that we had. And I'm really, really excited for 2022. I think the market is just getting better and better for retail traders. I think it's just we are at the tip of iceberg in terms of opportunities for retail traders. I think the commissions are coming down, zero commissions. Volatility continues to be really well for traders. And in 2022, we expand our education center. We're going to have more meetups if there is no pandemic restrictions, hopefully. Probably want to start with a big one in Florida or Eastern. That's I'm excited, maybe January, February. So there's another tool that we are developing. We want to call it Market Insider, and it will be released the first version in 2022. I'm very excited for that. You're going to see it very soon that what it is. And we want to expand our education center, definitely. And we're always on the look for good traders and good members to join our leadership team. Because sometimes people are emailing me and messaging me that, hey, I want to work at Bear Bull Traders. What's the criteria? Or I'm a really good trader. These are my profit. Can I become part of the Bear Bull Traders? My answer is always that we're not looking for the best trader. We might not be the best traders in the world, but we're looking for people who go beyond to help the community. That's answer questions, write articles, active on the forum post. That's what we're looking for. Definitely there are better traders than all of us in the community and outside, but we are always looking forward that. And Mike, Norman, pretty much everyone in this room were the people who are coming from the community, but they were just so active and so going beyond their way to help other people. You didn't have to answer anyone's in the chat. Peter, you didn't have to show up every day, especially in the early mornings, but you just wanted to. That generosity toward helping other people, and those are the people where we attract. And we're always on the look for that. So if you're a member, contributing to the community, we appreciate that, and we hopefully to have you in the team more and more.
That's what brought me here.
Yeah, Ed. Yeah, thank you. Ed is excellent educator. I mean, your recaps are gold. Watching it and so much material in there. You don't have to do that, but you just do it because you want to help people.
Yeah, at 2 times the speed now. You got to watch it at 2 times the speed.
Exactly, 2 times.
I'm from the South. I talk slow.
That's excellent. I mean, that makes it a very, very good, make you a very good educator because you talk slow, you make your point, and then you move on that. And that's what coming from the engineering background that you have, plus the education, you're a professional educator in the state of South Carolina. And I'm very excited for 2022. And just thank everyone for this amazing year. And God bless you all. Cheers to that.
Thanks for your leadership by example.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, cheers. Bye. Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Bye.